This is the moment the walls start closing in, because when Tom Bower sharpens his pen, reputations don't wobble, they collapse. And this time, Meghan knows it. She feels it. She's panicking, because the man who already ripped the mask off once is coming back to finish the job. The silence from Montecito isn't calm, it's fear, because Tom Bower isn't teasing, he's warning.
Harry must be nuts. This is one of the text messages his friends were sending around to each other after Meghan's first introduction to Harry's friends in 2017 during a shooting weekend at Sandringham. Meghan's podcast has fallen off the charts. She's been criticized for the content. There are rumors that her As Ever launch wasn't as successful as she considered it. Critically, With Love Meghan was not a success.
You can't trust Meghan and Harry. That's the point. Even if you think you've got a deal, and that I don't believe that is possible, but if you think you have, the palace will be shocked that they will renege immediately because they have no advantage of reconciliation. They've got no advantage of ending their vendetta.
This woman looks to me like a malignant narcissist. This woman has zero self-awareness.
They kind of fucked up their whole thing, went way too hard on we're victims, and they assessed the mood of their generation and America correctly in that we are lovers of victimhood. Yeah. But America did finally find a way to say, you know what? We love victims, but you two?
It's ludicrous. It's all about her. And there's an extraordinary interview with Serena Williams where the first 11 minutes is all about her and not about this phenomenal tennis
Serena
champion.
Williams.
I mean, so that's why it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And who'd want to put herself or himself, as always, women. I mean, she does have this strange distrust, I think, of men.
I just think she's crying for sympathy, playing the victim when there's nothing to be a victim about, and there's also no sympathy to be granted for this lifestyle that she's chosen to.
The abdication happened because of the American Wallace. That was a catastrophe in a way, but we overcame it, and his successor, George VI, was a terrifically successful king. And of course, the Queen was phenomenally successful, and we'll see what happens. That's the thing about Meghan. She's a very, very deceitful person.
The investigative journalist who exposed them in his 2012 bestseller Revenge is back with a sequel. And this time, Tom Bower says he's got material they can't spin away. That line alone is enough to trigger alarms behind closed doors. Because Revenge wasn't gossip, it was a legal minefield built with documents, witnesses, and receipts. 80 sources, court-proof, untouchable. And now he's saying the second book is worse. This isn't a comeback story, it's an autopsy, and Meghan knows exactly why.
Professionally, they've gone down dramatically, and I predicted it in the book, but even I would not have thought it'd be that accelerated. I think personally, they've separated their professional lives, but I think what's really a great problem for them now, as of in the last few weeks, is that Meghan has got no real income anymore. She's finished.
Right.
The Netflix series is over. There's no great podcast. They don't generate any money. And I don't see where she is going from.
After South Park mocked her fake pregnancy video, South Park didn't just mock, it detonated the illusion. The episode didn't invent suspicion, it animated what millions were already whispering: the exaggerated bump, the awkward dancing, the optics that never added up. Satire turned subtext into text, and suddenly the joke wasn't funny anymore. It was permanent.
Park, it's come to life. That's what we're witnessing in this hospital room.
After 23 million in unsold jam, that number doesn't whisper failure. It screams it. Because this wasn't just jam. It was supposed to be a lifestyle empire, a reinvention, a proof of concept that Meghan didn't need royalty to sell luxury. Except the numbers don't lie, and Tom Bower has them.
She's sitting on $21.8 million worth of product.
Tom Bower's timing couldn't be more brutal. Early 2026, the book drops in everything Meghan tried to hide. Tom Bower is about to expose it all. Timing matters. And this timing is lethal. This book doesn't arrive at the peak. It arrives after Spotify walked away. After Netflix projects flopped. After Hollywood doors quietly closed. After the brand became a punchline. This isn't documenting a rise and fall, it's examining the wreckage.
Let's talk a little Harry and Meghan. Their Archwell Foundation has been declared delinquent by the state of California, meaning it is not in good standing as a charity and not permitted to engage in activities like raising and spending money, pretty much all you would expect a charitable fund to do.
September 2025, Tom Bower confirms he's writing a second book about Meghan and Harry. This man is called the Witchfinder General of biographers. That nickname exists for a reason. Because Tom Bower doesn't chase rumors, rumors chase him. People talk to him when they're ready to tell the truth. And now, he says the whole world wants new insights. Translation? The dam has broken. NDAs are expiring. Staff are gone. Loyalty is gone. Fear is gone.
I think there were various things about her sexual life which I dropped out on the grounds of privacy laws in Britain.
Despite Meghan's lawyers, Tom Bower was never successfully sued. That's the detail that terrifies them most. No retractions, no settlements, no courtroom apologies. Because Bower's work survives scrutiny, which means this sequel isn't reckless, it's calculated. And the difference between 2022 and now? Back then, they still had defenders.
That Meghan was warmly welcomed in Britain, that everyone in the royal family tried their very, very hardest to make her feel at home and accommodate her, but that unfortunately Meghan only wanted to be the star and made it impossible for her and the royal family to collaborate.
Tom Bower's new book, it's coming after everything collapsed. Spotify fired them. Netflix flopped. Tom Bower isn't documenting a fall anymore. This is the autopsy. Exactly. Back then, there were deals to protect, executives willing to look away. Now, no incentive, no shield, just distance. And Tom Bower starts exactly where the public humiliation went global. South Park. The episode that froze Meghan's image in satire. The empty head gag, the worldwide privacy tour, the hospital room scene that turned empowerment into embarrassment. A cartoon did what lawsuits and PR never could. It rewired how the world sees her. And Tom Bower watched it happen in real time. He watched Hollywood laugh, then step back. He watched studios decide, quietly, no one wants this circus. From there, the collapse speeds up. American Riviera Orchard launches with fanfare and numbers that don't add up. Sold out, they say. Except Reddit finds a glitch. Inventory exposed, overstocked boxes, barely any sales, perishable products rotting while headlines brag. Tom Bower doesn't guess, he calculates. $23 million sitting unsold, 9 years to clear inventory at current sales. Jam that will expire before it's ever eaten. That's not branding, that's disaster. And then comes the charity. Archwell, the crown jewel of moral superiority, the shield, the virtue armor. Tom Bower has the tax forms, expenses ballooning, donations collapsing, salaries that don't make sense, security bills draining millions, grants shrinking while lifestyles remain untouched, $5 million spent, $1 million given away. That's not philanthropy, that's optics. Staff fleeing, executives gone, rebrands timed exactly when scrutiny hits, fiscal sponsorships that conveniently blur accountability, and now government eyes watching closely. This is where gossip ends and paperwork begins. And Tom Bower lives in paperwork. He's tracking where the money came from, where it stopped, why donations collapsed the moment government funding disappeared, why California labeled the foundation delinquent. And then he goes backwards. Before Harry, before royalty, before the image. Soho House, the access, the travel, the luxury that never matched the income, the friendships that followed her city to city. The unanswered questions about who paid, who introduced, who facilitated. Tom Bower noticed something crucial. When photos surfaced, when allegations whispered, when questions grew louder, there was silence. No lawsuits, no denials, no corrections. And for Tom Bower, silence is evidence. This new book isn't chasing one scandal. It's connecting a pattern, a long one, image control, media manipulation, burned bridges, failed ventures, blame cycles. And now, no place left to hide, because Tom Bower already exposed them once, and this time he isn't exposing what they're doing, he's exposing who they always were. And this is where the story turns darker, because once Tom Bower finishes with the numbers, the jokes, the flops, and the paper trail, he does what terrifies people the most. He goes after origins, not the fairy tale, not the curated narrative, the mechanics. Tom Bower doesn't ask, what went wrong? He asks, how did this ever work in the first place? Because when you strip away the titles, the platform, the Netflix gloss, the press deals, and the royal proximity, One question refuses to disappear. Who paid for the life before Harry? That's where Soho House stops being a backdrop and starts becoming a roadmap. Tom Bower has been circling that world for years. Not gossiping, not speculating, tracking patterns, names, movements, access. And what stands out isn't one allegation, it's consistency. The same places, the same introductions, the same benefactors, the same unanswered questions. A struggling actress with global mobility, luxury travel that didn't match declared income, designer wardrobes appearing long before royal budgets, private jets, elite invitations, and doors opening that don't open for nobodies. Tom Bower isn't claiming, he's asking. And he's noticed something chilling. Whenever Meghan fought back publicly, she fought hard. Letters, lawsuits, complaints, apologies demanded, careers threatened, entire networks forced to bend. But when it came to Soho House photos, to whispered yacht connections, to unanswered funding questions, silence, no cease and desist, no defamation suits, no legal fury. For Tom Bower, that silence is deafening. Because this is a man who sued over a private letter, but didn't sue over lifestyle allegations that cut far deeper. That inconsistency becomes the spine of his new book. And then come the people. Former staff, former aides, former ride-or-die defenders. People who once stayed quiet because the machine was powerful, because the money flowed, because the threat was real. Now, the machine is broken. Spotify gone. Netflix wobbling. Hollywood laughing, not listening, titles questioned, charities exposed, popularity at historic lows, and most importantly, NDAs expiring. Tom Bower said it before, the victims are keen to talk. Now, he says, they're eager. People who were forced to lie, people who covered for photo ops that never happened, people who cleaned up messes that weren't theirs, people who watched bullying reframed as strong leadership. When Tom Bower speaks to these people, he doesn't need drama, he needs timelines. And those timelines line up frighteningly well. Staff turnover that mirrors every major venture, executives fleeing after key incidents, public praise followed by private chaos, rebrands timed perfectly with exposure. It's not random, it's a pattern. And patterns are Tom Bower's specialty. He's documenting how the charity became a lifestyle buffer, how grants shrank while expenses exploded, how salaries ballooned while donations collapsed, how security costs rivaled real charitable output. 5 million out, 1 million to causes. That math doesn't care about intention. It only cares about truth. And truth is what makes this book impossible to stop. Because unlike interviews, unlike podcasts, unlike glossy magazine covers, financial records don't lie when stacked together. Tom Bower isn't relying on opinions anymore. He has forms, databases, government filings, website inventories, internal numbers. That's why this time is different. In 2022, they could cry bias, they could claim racism, they could rally defenders, they could hide behind contracts. In 2026, there's nothing left to hide behind. Hollywood insiders already use words they once whispered: dictator in heels, impossible, radioactive. UK polling tells its own brutal story, a collapse so sharp it's almost vertical, from celebration to rejection, from asset to liability. And Tom Bower's conclusion is ruthless. The applause was never for Meghan Markle. It was for the institution she represented. Once she attacked that institution, the applause stopped. And now, the world isn't booing, it's turning away. That's worse, because indifference kills brands faster than outrage. This new book connects everything. The satire that crystallized public doubt, the business launches that couldn't survive scrutiny, the charity that collapsed under its own numbers, the past that never quite made sense, the staff who finally feel safe to speak, and looming over it all, investigations that don't care about PR. The Ears doesn't watch South Park. California regulators don't read Harper's Bazaar. Paperwork doesn't respond to emotional appeals. Tom Bower knows this. That's why he waited. He didn't strike when they were powerful. He waited until the scaffolding fell away. Because this time, there's no cavalry coming. No streaming giant to protect a deal. No palace to absorb backlash. No goodwill left to spend. Just records, witnesses, and a reputation already in freefall. Tom Bower has never lost a major legal fight because he doesn't publish until he can survive one. That's the quiet horror behind Montecito's silence. They know this book isn't loud, it's lethal. It doesn't need exaggeration. It doesn't need spin. It doesn't need emotion. It has structure. Early 2026 isn't just a release date. it's a deadline. Because once this book lands, the question won't be, is it true? The question will be, why did nobody stop it sooner? Tom Bauer exposed them once. This time, he isn't exposing actions, he's exposing identity. And when that happens, there is no rebrand left, no relaunch, no comeback. Just the final reckoning of a story that was always built on illusion and finally, irreversibly, collapses under the weight of its own receipts.